Greetings to one and all. This will be my first video in a series of tutorials I plan on doing on how to play a Ventrue vampire in Vampire the Masquerade role-playing game, either at board games or on the forums. Before we start, however, I must state that I am no expert. Even though I played Ventrue for a while, I have made a lot of mistakes. Regardless, I have tried to learn, both from my mistakes and the things I saw other people do, and recently a friend suggested that I might try and make a tutorial about this, because there are so many bad Ventrue players out there, and no one has made any kind of instructional video so far. Still, I am by no means an expert, but I will do my best. And if you see me make a mistake, feel free to point it out in the comments. If you have tried playing a Ventrue on a forum or in a game room and have suffered a bad experience, then this video will, I hope, shed some light on the matter. In this video, I will give you a brief overview on how your Ventrue character should behave, the proper code of conduct in a given situation, and I will try to give you some advice on how to successfully play your character with minimum difficulty. There will be difficulty, make no mistake. Ventrue have more rules than most clans, and they are expected to know and follow them by heart. You ignore these rules at your own peril. To begin, almost everyone knows the basics of playing a Ventrue. They're the so-called kings and queens of the vampires, the blue bloods, the aristocrats of the damned. They are wealthy, often in charge of a given city, manipulative, power-hungry, and very picky about what blood they can drink. The symbol of their clan is the royal scepter, while the symbol of the La Sombra clan is the crown. This seems significant to me for some reason. A typical Ventrue is not embraced randomly or by chance. Most are selected from the upper crust of the society. When they are chosen, they must first be ghouls for a time, until they learn all the traditions, history, and codes of conduct. This can take several years or even decades. Once the sire feels they are ready, they are presented to the local clan, where the initiate is questioned, tested, and examined. If the initiate is found lacking, the sire kills them, drains them of their blood on the spot. This is called taking back the blood. If they satisfy, the initiate is embraced and is given an agog, a task they must perform alone, with no help from the clan, to prove themselves. It is usually something difficult and time-consuming. Most often, they are to venture out into the night and conquer a territory, or claim a domain of their own, or collect a few boons from the more influential members of the society. It all depends on how sadistic the Primogen feels at this point. Only after the agog is successful are they recognized as a part of the clan. Their sire bears responsibility for them during this period, and if they make a mistake, the sire will be to blame. The child will probably end up dead, and if the sire survives, he or she will be disgraced. The Ventrue clan is a firm believer in self-control and self-discipline, because if you can't control yourself, then how can you control anyone else? A Ventrue tends to be calm, collected, cool, smooth, and poised in every situation. Laughter is to be muted. Rages, panic, fits, crying, and all other emotional outbursts are not permitted, not where anyone can see at least. Basically, all of these things are viewed as a sign of weakness. The only exception is frenzy, because it is unavoidable for all vampires, though there are Ventrue who deny that it ever happens to them. I have had trouble with this too, and the best advice I can give you here is this. When you find yourself in a tight spot, when you are angry or scared or generally emotional, do not post immediately. Step away from the keyboard, step away from the game, and think. Don't come back to the game for at least 2 or 3 hours if possible, and only after you have had the time to think things through and cool off, then make your reply. So do not post impulsively, but rather think before you act. Sometimes even a few seconds for thought can be a huge difference. Second, be polite. Ventrue are genteel after all, so being polite is a must. Think of the movie Kingsman. Manners make it the man. This is doubly true of a Ventrue. Aside from following basic etiquette, there are some other rules that they also have to adhere to. Give respect to elders of any clan. Never interrupt them when they speak, and if they interrupt you, affect to make no notice of it. If they make a mistake when talking to you, affect that it is your fault for not speaking more clearly. It is also considered polite, when facing an elder, to hold eye contact with them, to show them you trust them, not to use the dominate discipline on you, which, by the way, only works if you use dominate on someone younger than yourself. Refer to others by their title if they have one. Address the prince as your grace, and when you meet him or her, kneel before them on the right knee and kiss their ring. Address the sheriff as noble sheriff, the primogen as honored primogen, and the whip as trustworthy whip. In public, use camarilla titles, and in the privacy of the Ventrue clan, choose between the in-clan title and camarilla title based on which is higher. If they don't have a title, refer to them as Mr. or Ms. That's M-I-S-S, not M-S. Or refer to them as Doctor if they have a degree. To learn their title, you can start your interaction with them by asking how you should address them. 2 gentlemen greet by a firm handshake, 2 ladies with a kiss on the cheek, and a gentleman and a lady by a kiss on the hand, though some ladies feel they need to give permission first. Try not to insult anyone in public unless you really, really, really have to. Know your clan's history and your lineage. You will often be prompted to recite your lineage, the list of all the sires who came before you, and as for the clan's history, it is of utmost importance to know it, because the clan is very proud of it. If you are forced to ingest something which does not suit you, you will inevitably bring it back out. However, doing so in public is considered very rude, so find some privacy first. Using vampire disciplines on other members of the Ventrue clan is also considered socially unacceptable, though some elders say it is sometimes unavoidable. If you are caught doing it, you will immediately lose status. If you are caught. Only the prince, Justicar, or Ventrue clan's highest members can demand an access to your mind, and you will be obliged to give it to them. What happens in clan and clan meetings stays in the clan. No outsiders are allowed to the words spoken in the privacy of the clan, so keep your mouth shut. There is also the ethics of Sakor. If a fellow Ventrue asks for your help, you are obliged to give it to them. The most common phrase used is, "I implore your assistance, cousin." You will get no boon for it, you will not mention it again after the fact, and you will not begrudge the one who asked you. You may be asked to help, or you may be the one asking for help, so it is a good thing to keep in mind. It is best, however, to only invoke this in the case of dire need. Asking for help too often, or when it's not needed, can be seen as abuse of this tradition, and the one asked will be fully within his right to refuse. Otherwise, refusing to give aid in this fashion is one of the greatest crimes a Ventrue can commit. And you should also never ask aid in this fashion against another member of the Ventrue clan. Never let anyone know what blood type is your preference. Ventrue are paranoid about that. If someone learns which blood type you prefer, it could be used against you. This leads me to Ventrue blood preference. Every Ventrue has a unique blood flavor which they can consume, and any other blood is useless to them. This can go to such extremes that they can even tell if a sealed blood bag contains their sustenance or not. A particular preference can be almost anything. Blood of virgins, blood of redheads, blood of those in love, blood of people who are Gemini in the horoscope, blood of soldiers, blood of killers, blood of smokers, blood of toddlers or teens or parents or grandparents, the list goes on and on. Whatever you pick for yourself at character creation, remember to only feed on the Ventrue clan's territory within the city, unless other clans give you permission to feed on their territory as well. The Ventrue are schemers and manipulators, and they pride themselves on being subtle. They prefer not to use their vampiric disciplines, and instead achieve their goals by subtlety and cunning. When a Ventrue has an enemy, a Ventrue's attack should be executed in such a manner that the victim never learns what hit them. The advanced presence discipline can summon people you have met to you, which can be useful in this regard. However, I personally recommend against it, unless you have no other choice. If one is relying on their disciplines too much or too often, that Ventrue is considered weak by his fellow clanmates. There is also a way for a victim to negate the effect of presence, but I will not speak of it here. A better option would be to ask your clan for aid by invoking the ethics of Sakor, or seek out others who would like a piece of the target in question. And the best option by far is to deal with the problem yourself without using the disciplines, if you can. Now you might be wondering what is the point of all this. The point is something called dignitas. Dignitas is a concept that Ventrue came up with during Roman times, and it represents honor, dignity, and social standing within the clan. A Ventrue who has more dignitas is more important, more influential, and more respected by the clan than someone with little to no dignitas. You earn dignitas by adhering to all of these rules and by doing things which aid the clan and your fellow Ventrue. You lose dignitas by acting outside of these restrictions, by getting caught in breaking the rules, and by doing things that harm the clan and other Ventrue. Almost everyone in the clan will keep track of your dignitas, and you are welcome to do the same. As a result, Ventrue are usually very proud, arrogant, and vengeful. They will view even a minor insult as a major stain upon their dignitas, but they will not impulsively retaliate right away, but rather wait for an opportune moment to settle the score. They are capable of holding a grudge for centuries, studying the target, waiting for a moment of weakness, and when it comes, it can be something small like refusing to help them when they are in trouble, or an elaborate scheme like something from a heist movie. This way, the clan has incurred an unhealthy reputation for cruelty throughout history. I personally do not roleplay my character that way, and I will talk more about how I deal with this in a later tutorial. Ventrue love power, and they achieve it through the trading of boons, dignitas, and to some extent, finance and influence. Do not be afraid of owing someone a boon, but be sure to get something in return. If someone asks for a boon from you in exchange for their service, tell them that they can have it after they have done their part. For example, if I wanted Miss Valaria to find me 2 partners for my enterprise, and if she asked me for 2 trivial boons in exchange, I would agree, provided that she finds me up to 2 people willing to meet with me and discuss it within the next 2 weeks. For each one, she would get a boon from me. If she doesn't do her part, then she gets nothing, and that bargain is null and void. So that is it for my first tutorial about the basics of playing a Ventrue. My next tutorial will be about the rules and history of the Camarilla. I hope this was helpful to you, and I'll see you again soon.